Hey guys, big welcome back to all my friends in the YouTube comic and pop culture community. Uh, Thought I'd catch you guys up on a couple hauls and some odds and ends I've acquired recently. Finally getting slowly to get caught up on answering some comments and still watching videos. I might not get to comment on a lot of them, but slowly catching up. And you guys will probably see me in the comments if you care to look back a few weeks. But anyway, just some stuff I picked up. His first few, got some great Marvel reprints. These first couple aren't in the greatest of shape, but basically I'm just wanting them for the story and just because I love these square-bound books so much. We have Marvel Tales number 29, great Spider-Man reprints. Like I say, got these great square-bound books that I love so much. More bang for your buck and all that. Classic reprint of a Spidey and Green Goblin story. Like I say, this is basically a reader. I mean, it's pretty chewed up, but you know, I'm just trying to fill some gaps. Not really worried about condition right now. And here's a great Steve Ditko cover, Marvel Tales number 13, Spidey and Sandman. Got some great reprints, including that Marvel Boy. That might be it. Maybe some Thor and and Giant Man included in that. More square bound goodness. Number 8, probably a decent mid-grade copy, Marvel Tales. More great reprints. And to me, these are, I know there's like showcase and archive editions and Marvel's Essentials and all that kind of stuff that DC and Marvel puts out. But to me, these like late 60 and early 70 reprints are like really one of the best ways to go if you're trying to get to classic stories. If you can't afford a lot of the originals, which I know some of us can, some of us can't. I fall into a little bit of the can't category right now as far as a lot of the Marvel stuff. But I think these are great if you just want to get the stories. I think in a lot of the Essentials and the DC Showcase stuff, it's in black and white, and this way you get it in color. So I think it's a good bargain. And these books can be had, for on the cheap, pretty much. And the last one, that speaking of not being able to afford the originals, Marvel Tales 106. Since I probably won't be getting Spider-Man 129 for a while. But I've seen some copies online, and especially slab copies. These are going for a good price now, and this was in pretty decent shape. So, and I just got it for a few bucks, so I thought it was a bargain. Okay, on some DC stuff. Actually, upgraded some more of my Justice Leagues. Kind of a little bit of an oddity for the Justice League. This is JLA 179, and this is a Jim Starlin cover. I think his name's in here somewhere if I can find it. Maybe not. Anyway, Jim Starlin, love his art. Very cool cover, white background. Firestorm joins the Justice League. And I think this is like the second part of that story. Number 180, another great Jim Starlin cover for you Starlin fans. And upgraded some more of my stuff, some Joe Kubert classic. Great little series I loved. I bought it when it first came out when I was a kid. And I think this was actually one of the first Jewish superheroes, probably the first DC Jewish superhero. I think maybe The Thing was Marvel's first Jewish superhero. But here's a Ragman, number 2. Great Joe Kubert cover. I think a lot of this is either Kubert. I mean, Kubert did all the covers, and I think a lot of the interiors, like Kubert did the layouts, and I think the Redondo studio did the finishes on these. But just great books, great little series. I was really sad it didn't last any more than 5 issues. Another great cover, Ragman number 3. Joe Kubert cover. And a really nice high-grade copy of number 4. More Kubert goodness. Okay, let's get into a little horror. I think in one of these purchases I made, a guy stuck in a freebie. And some of you guys might have read these, or maybe not. Anyway, I thought it was kind of cool. Some Zenescope Comics, Grim Tales of Terror. Some nice horror there. Okay, and this is a series that came out from First Comics. Probably, I'm not sure the year. Let me see. Came out 1990. I'm sure a lot of you heard me talk about how much I love Tom Sutton's work. And here's a series he did for First Comics. Back around that time, it was a 4-issue series called Squalor. And it's really some of Tom Sutton's better later art that he did. And these are hard to find. I think I've got 3 of the 4 issues. Maybe this might be 2. But it was just a 4-issue miniseries. Maybe sort of a sci-fi horror type story. I'm not sure. Haven't got to read them yet. I want to get the whole series first. But some great Tom Sutton artwork. Okay, got some Charlton. The Phantom, number 66. A pretty nice grade. And I really love this next cover. Phantom number 73, and this is art and painted cover by Don Newton. I'm sure a lot of you have seen Phantom 74, the issue after this. It's a great Don Newton painted cover with the flag in the background. I'm sure you've probably seen Dr. Von Chilla show that book. But this is the issue right before that. And I think Newton did several at the end of this series. And actually, I think 74 was the end of that series, and this is 73. So, great painted cover. Don Newton on the interiors. Really looking forward to reading this one. And on to some Charlton horror. Ghostly Haunts number 51. I'd actually picked these up at a local comic shop. A guy had recently moved to a bigger store, and I actually went last night and picked a bunch of these up, like $2 a piece. And they range anywhere from maybe a good, very good, up to, you know, maybe a fine, very fine on some of this stuff. They're all at $2, so just some stuff I had missing. Love these old Charlton horror books. This is probably the lowest grade of any one I picked up. This was Ghostly Tales number 92. Steve Ditko cover. Kind of beat up, but it's complete. All I'm really looking for right now is just to kind of fill some runs. Grab me a sip of coffee. Ghostly Tales 154. Haunted number 61. Or Baron Werewolf's Haunted Library, as some like to call it. Number 31. Scary Tales 33. Really cool purple background, purple and black. Nice looking cover. Many Ghosts of Dr. Graves, number 55, with Steve Ditko cover. And just about all these books have the same artists and the same writers. I know Joe Gill probably wrote the bulk of the scripts in Charlton stuff. And you had Steve Ditko and Tom Sutton and Jim Aparo, Sanho Kim, Rich Larson, a lot of the same guys. I've read some articles that called Charlton the low rent district of the comic business back then, and I guess in a way they were, because they pay the cheapest rates on their talent, and they did everything in one big warehouse in Derby, Connecticut. I mean, they had guys in there doing the writing, the art, the printing, and loaded it off the docks, all in the same building, which I thought was kind of neat. But I enjoy these books, and anybody that likes little oddball stuff, or especially like horror stuff or TV and movie properties, Charlton was the place to get this stuff. There's Beyond the Grave number 12. Nice cover. Okay, these last 4 books I got, it's all the same book. But I've been reading through my price guide lately, and I'm not really one to do a whole lot of speculating as far as like which book's going to be the hot book or blah blah blah. I mean, basically anything that's going to be in a TV show or a movie is going to be a hot book. I read an article in this year's price guide, and this guy had been selling this book, been getting like $75 for high grade copies, and there's no mention of this as far as it being special in the guide. I mean, you'll see the listing for the numbers of the books, and underneath you'll see like the artists that did the covers or the interiors or whatever. And I found out, and I'd had this book originally. Well, I still have my original copy. But I figured, this might be a good investment. I don't know, but I just I pulled that book out and I was, well, that's just a great cover. And I didn't realize this till I was reading that report. But World's Finest number 285. This is actually Frank Miller's first Batman cover art, and this was probably 4 years before the Dark Knight Returns came out. I think Miller was doing maybe some sporadic work for DC. I remember he did a Adventures of Superboy cover and a few other things, like a DC Special Series. He did a Batman story, but this is actually the first cover art that Frank Miller did for DC Comics and Superman, for that matter. So this is probably the lowest. I picked up a few copies. This one's a little bit beat up on the edge, but pretty decent. The other 3 pretty high grade. But I just kind of looked at it. It's one of those, we all have those books that we love, and we got multiple copies of them, and this just became another one of mine once I started looking at the cover. So even if it, doesn't bring a good return later on, it's a great book to have. Got some great interior art by Rich Buckler. So anybody that's interested, might be a good pickup. And another high-grade copy. So for you Frank Miller fans, there you go. Going to end this on kind of a little sad note. Well, for me especially, I'm sure all you fans of horror movies and that follow that genre heard of the passing of Angus Scrimm, who played the Tall Man on the Phantasm movies, in which that's my all-time favorite series of horror flicks. I was really sad to hear that. Now, I know they finished Phantasm Ravager, and I'm sure that'll be like a direct-to-video release or like a limited release when it finally does come out this year. But it's really sad to hear that. I've got a couple things to show you. A friend of mine, young kid actually I used to work with, I kind of turned him on to the Phantasm movies, and he just went apeshit over them, And for Christmas one year, he got me this Tall Man action figure, complete with the evil little dwarf, and you got the space gate there. Still mint in the package. Sold to my little buddy Nick that I used to work with. Thank you very much again, man. I think I actually got him a Phantasm t-shirt several years ago. And this next, I found this book when it first came out and had to order it naturally. This is the Unauthorized Companion, Phantasm Exhumed. It's a great picture of Angus Scrimm on the front. And just anybody that's interested in these movies and how it all came about, and about the actors, and some details, and some details about the upcoming movie. Still not sure when it's going to be released, but it's going to be this year. from all reports that I've heard. And this is actually the guy that wrote this, Dustin McNeil. It's his first book. He was such a Phantasm fan, and he wondered why there wasn't a book on Phantasm. I mean, there's scores of books about horror films, and I guess no one had ever put one out until him, so he just decided to do it himself. And it's just a great reference. Got some great stories and insights if anybody's interested. And my sweet little wife, I knew there was a something called a Red Planet edition that you could only get special through the Phantasm website. And my sweet little wife got this for me for Christmas. So this is the hardback version, the Red Planet version. So a lot of the photos that were in black and white and the other are in color in this one. There's some added extras. It's just a great book, great binding, a whole lot of stuff. You got some, you have Reggie Bannister, the ice cream guy, some behind the scenes stuff, Angus Scrimm, some of the zombies that were in the movie. So for all you horror fans interested in Phantasm or anything that to do with that, great reference book to have. And again, really sad to hear the passing of Angus Scrimm. Just a great talent, and from all accounts I've heard, I didn't get to meet the gentleman, but from everything I heard, he was just a great guy, a great person, and from his family and friends, I'm sure he'll be missed. But to all us horror fans, he will be greatly missed. He was really the first, I guess, horror movie villain that really stuck out to me. I mean, you have Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers and all those guys that came out when I was a kid, but that one really kind of stuck in my mind because it was a little bit different. It just wasn't a slasher flick. So for you guys that are interested, check out the Phantasm stuff. That's all I can say. But anyway, thanks for sticking around, and as always, I appreciate the comments. Any questions that I can't answer, I will answer. And hope you guys are having a great week. Onward and upward.